On June 5, 1968, a nation held its breath. Robert F. Kennedy, who was a beacon of hope, a voice for the broken, a man many believed could heal a wounded America, walked through the kitchen of the Ambassador Hotel in Los Angeles. Seconds later, there were gunshots. Screams, blood, chaos. By dawn, Bobby Kennedy, brother to a slain president, father to 11, and rising star in American politics, was gone. But behind that trigger stood a name that puzzled the world: Sirhan Sirhan. Who was he, and what drove him to murder? Was it rage, politics, or something far more sinister? This is the story of ambition, war, obsession, and perhaps a conspiracy buried beneath silence. You are watching The Assassination of Robert F. Kennedy, the man, the gunman, and the mystery. The night was warm, thick with excitement. Robert F. Kennedy had just clinched a decisive victory in the California Democratic primary, a critical step toward the presidency. Inside the Ambassador Hotel, the air buzzed with hope. Supporters cheered, clutching signs, their faces lit with dreams of change. Kennedy, calm and radiant, spoke to the crowd in the Grand Boardroom. We are a great country, an unselfish country, a compassionate country. His words promised a future that would never come. Shortly after midnight, Kennedy slipped away from the celebration, heading toward the press room. But lurking in the shadows was Sirhan Sirhan. Without warning, 6 shots rang out. Kennedy collapsed, blood staining the cold floor. Amid the chaos, a young busboy rushed to his side, cradling his head. Panic exploded. People screamed, scrambled. 5 others were hit, but only Kennedy's wound was fatal. Siran Sirhan was wrestled to the ground, shouting, "I did it for my country!" But what country? And why Robert Kennedy? To understand the gravity of that night, we must first understand the man who was lost, Robert Francis Kennedy, or Bobby as the world called him. He was more than a politician. He was born into one of America's most powerful families. He was the younger brother of President John F. Kennedy. After John's assassination in 1963, the nation was plunged into grief and uncertainty. Bobby stepped into the spotlight as Attorney General, a senator, and a fierce advocate for justice. He championed civil rights, fought against organized crime, and sought to bridge divides in a country tearing itself apart over war and inequality. In 1968, America was engulfed by conflict, both overseas in Vietnam and at home where cities burned with unrest. Kennedy's campaign was a beacon of hope to many, a chance for healing. But his vision threatened powerful forces, and for some, his very presence was a danger. The promise of change silenced forever in a single shattering moment. While America mourned a rising star, far away in a land torn by conflict, a boy's life was shaped by violence and fear. Siran Bisher was born in Jerusalem in 1944. Palestine was already a land divided by war, a place where bullets and bombs echoed through the streets. Siran's childhood was marked by loss, the horrors of battle, the death of his brother, and the brutal upheaval of his family's home. His mother later recalled the nightmares he endured: shattered bodies, relentless fear, a childhood stolen by war. When his father lost his job and home, violence seeped inside the household. Beatings and instability followed. In 1957, the Siran family fled to America, seeking refuge in a quiet suburb of Pasadena, California, just miles from the hotel where history would be rewritten. On May 18, 1968, just weeks before the assassination, Siran wrote in his journal, pages filled with dark determination. But why? Some say it was Kennedy's stance on Israel, his promise to send fighter jets, a promise that angered Siran deeply. Yet, puzzlingly, this promise came after the journal was written. What fueled such violent resolve? The answer may lie in years of pain, political turmoil, and a fractured world, colliding in a tragic crescendo. June 5, 1968. The day that changed America forever. In the bustling kitchen hallway of the Ambassador Hotel, shots rang out. Kennedy fell. Witnesses screamed. Some froze. Others rushed to help. Juan Romero, a busboy, became an unlikely hero, cradling Kennedy's bleeding head, whispering words of comfort. Meanwhile, Siran was tackled, his gun wrestled away. "I did it for my country," he shouted. 5 others were shot, but all survived. Kennedy was rushed to the hospital. Hope flickered, then faded. 24 hours later, Robert F. Kennedy was dead at only 42 years old. Sirhan Sirhan's trial was swift. The evidence was damning. He was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to death. But questions lingered. Witnesses heard more gunshots than Siran's 8-bullet revolver could fire. The fatal bullet entered Kennedy from behind, yet Siran stood in front. Some, including Kennedy's own son and campaign aide, Paul Straight, believed Siran did not act alone at all. Claims of brainwashing, conspiracy, and hidden shooters haunted the case. Even today, the full truth remains shrouded in shadows. Sirhan Sirhan remains imprisoned, his parole repeatedly blocked. 15 times he has applied for release, each time his fate hanging in the balance. For many, the assassination is a wound still raw, a stark reminder of America's turbulent past. Robert F. Kennedy's dream of justice and compassion lives on, inspiring generations. But the question endures, was justice truly served that night in the Ambassador Hotel? Some names are remembered for the lives they took, while others for the light they tried to bring. But for you and I, what kind of world are we willing to fight for?